what P did, he used his influence to basically, I say influence, you know what I'm saying, to basically make like the distributors, Southwest, City Hall, all that shit, Selecto, to pay me up front for whatever I got pressed up. So if I got 50,000 units pressed up, which I did, they paid me $7 up front. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like 18, 19.
Man, that's better than the record deal right there.
Exactly.
That's some shit.
Exactly. So I'm getting $300,000-$400,000, you know what I'm saying, off a record. That's why I was putting them out so much. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that shit came back to bite me because nobody explained taxes and shit to me. But you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking all that shit mine. You know what I mean?
Was your partner still rocking with you at the time?
Yeah, he was. Up until probably the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? He kind of, started wanting to go in a different direction in life, and and then I kept it moving as a solo artist. But me and P always was like brothers. You know what I'm saying? So my journey was different, you know what I'm saying, with No Limit, even though I was always synonymous with No Limit, but I never technically put a record out on No Limit.
Yeah, but it was a whole bunch of people. You ain't the only one that didn't put a record out there. But I noticed P always messed with you on a business, so I thought you was an executive over there first, dog.
For sure. Exactly.
I thought you was an executive because
we did a lot of other shit, you know what I'm saying? Like music, it was just like, he'd be like, Court, man, go, you know what I'm saying? You don't need to do all that. Go ahead and go get your money over there, you know what I mean? It just worked. And I was always kind of, you know what I mean, my own boss and autonomous like that. You know what I'm saying? I kind of moved to the beat of my own drum, even way back then. Now don't get me wrong, he always was big bro. I deferred to him, like a big homie, like a OG, like a mogul, but I always had my own shit, you know what I mean? And I think that's why our relationship was always what it's been.
So he ain't no bad dude.
Who, P?
Yeah.
Not at all. You heard something different?
Well, a lot of people say he cheated, he didn't this, he didn't give me what I deserved, shit like that. But you hear that with everybody.
You gonna hear that all the time.
Business.
You know what? This is the thing about that, bro. I'll speak on that a little bit. And I mean, listen, I can't speak for nobody because everybody had their own experience, but I kind of know, how P got down. Technically, if you think about it, what P would do is, man, he would give you lump sum. Okay, say, let's just be 100. A lot of the rappers that came on No Limit, the brand No Limit was selling that shit. These people didn't have track records. Some of them wasn't even real artists necessarily. They just niggas in the hood that rap.
Right.
He like, okay, I know you, nigga, you wanna rap? Okay, come on, cause No Limit, the brand is hot right now. We put that tank on anything, it's gonna sell. Right. You know what I mean? So you a nigga, you ain't never put a demo together. You just rapping in the hood. So he take you and say, all right, here, I'm gonna give you 500,000, buy you a $500,000 house, you know what I'm saying, set you up with a few cars. You good. You know what I'm saying? You can get out there, get your show money, go charge niggas for verses, all that shit, right? So he maybe spent, say, $1 million, $1.5 million on you. You know what I'm saying? Say your album go gold. You do the numbers, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So your album go gold, what's that? Maybe 3.5 million or so that was generated. Mm-hmm. But you know how they recoup, you talk about the recoup shit.
Yeah,
so
if he was recoup nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
You're
exactly.
Not. You have to know how to, first of all, you're dumb as fuck if you get $500,000 and go buy a $500,000 house. Don't go do that shit because you're not finna recoup anything.
No, but think about, he gave that to them.
Okay, and they should know. I don't want that shit.
No.
Because you give me a $500,000 house, I gotta pay the mortgage on this motherfucker, I gotta pay the taxes on the property. Okay, so you ain't never getting no royalties.
Yeah, technically.
You ain't never getting no royalties.
Right. It could go like that. But then think about it, Eiht. Opposed to him giving, you know what I'm saying, say 21 cent, 50 cent. You see what I'm saying? Because if he paid your album do 500,000 and he giving you 50 cents.
So he was pretty much doing non-traditional deals, but
no, let's do the numbers though. If he give you 50 cent a record and you go gold, what is he supposed to get you? What is the math on that? What's that, 250,000?
Yeah, like 250,000.
That's 250,000. So if he didn't basically invested $1 million in you, he paid you. You see what I'm saying? 800-some thousand more than what you would have got if he said, you know what, I'm gonna do you like the white man do you. You know what I'm saying? Here you go. You're gonna get your 7 points. You know what I'm saying? And here you go. And then you wait for this money to come in. Wait for us to recoup and all that shit. So you see, it's pros and cons to it.
It's still not a good deal, man. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you gotta. How you gonna pay for that shit? You're not finna be that rapping nigga forever. Well, you're not getting them shows. You're not. You already see it. You're not talented. You're not talented. So okay, you take the house. You take that. Oh, so you go. So you got to remain the hustler, right? Because you got $1 million. You got a $500,000 house. You got 2 cars in your driveway, totaling $500,000. Now you got $1 million tag. Now you go. How am I supposed to maintain this shit when I can't get a fucking show?
No, that's what you do. While you hot, you get your ass out on tour.
Most of them niggas was not hot, and you know it.
But this is on. No, they hot if they got a gold record. You know what I'm saying? If you got a gold record, there's somebody somewhere buying your shit, and there's niggas that'll give you when you go in them cities.
We know the game. A lot of that shit is not selling. A lot of that shit was being bought by their own companies. You said a lot of that shit, like you said, the name was selling that shit.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of those artists, like I said, I was gonna sign to No Limit. Okay, a lot of those artists, like you said, the name was selling them.
For sure.
And at a time when the name was done, what happened to a lot of artists on No Limit?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now I'm stuck with $1 million fucking house
that's paid for that you can sell.
But ain't it different if it would be different if MC8 signed with No Limit? And just think what he would have did up front with you because you MC8.
Yeah, but like you said, in the long run, that house is gonna be sold, them cars is gonna be sold.
But though, playing devil's advocate though, bro, if he had did a traditional deal, you would got less.
Yeah, because if you were smart enough, you wouldn't take a traditional deal. But some artists, as the beginning artist, you got to take.
Yeah, because think about it. Like I said, you got a nigga right off the street. What kind of leverage do we have?
Like really nothing.
Exactly. So
it don't sound like he was unfair at all.
No.
Like
so
it was just,
ultimately, what I'm saying is no. I mean, listen, I can't speak for everybody, but P is a giving dude. Like he gave freely. You know what I'm saying? And actually, it's a lot of times where I would tell them, nigga, I wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I think you being too nice. You know what I mean? But, but you can't please everybody in this business. You know how
for
that
sure.
goes.
And the thing is, like Eiht said, though, when you got a dude that ain't really talented, that don't know the business, all he know is he got this house and these 2 cars. In his mind, he think he really done did some shit. But
that's
it could have been.
Y'all ain't looking at the beginning part, though.
Responsibility.
Master P would go in the hood, oh, you rap? Come on. And now he done laid this on the table for somebody in the hood.
So, dog, you got to think, just like with Puffy, right? Just like with Diddy, and I think rest in peace to, was it Black Rob that just passed away? Yeah. You know, people was like, no disrespect, but dude is grown. So just because he worked for Puffy and was signed to Puffy 25 years ago, he's still supposed to be responsible for him? You know what I'm saying? Like, this a grown-ass man. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, where's the accountability?
You know what, though? That's the internet, man. Don't nothing make sense on the internet.
No, but
there's a bunch of niggas out there that just know everything.
This is what I'm saying, but I'm kind of saying even to Eiht's point, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a nigga give you, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's like in the hood. If a nigga throw you a couple, you know what I'm saying, whatever, and tell you, okay, run with the ball. You ain't even got to pay me nothing back. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now if you fumble the rock, you know, when you fall on your ass, so it's his fault? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, but that's how like you said, we talking about people, man, that don't have no place in the music business sometimes. They just don't got no place. That's what you're talking about. Them people will always be, even though they got more than what they were supposed to get technically, they got a shot. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Because it was some people that came off of No Limits that had pretty cool careers.
There's viable artists. You know, there's a lot of viable artists that came from No Limits.
I think y'all being slick and trying to say that's Death Row or something. There was a lot of, and I ain't gonna say people, I'm gonna say us on Death Row that shouldn't have been in the music business. But we wasn't on the music part of it. We was on the other end of it.
Oh no!
But it's all still the same thing.
I'm talking about a person that's a rapper. It wasn't Suge didn't have you over there trying to make rap records. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole different thing. You know, when you put somebody in the realm of being an artist, that's different than executive. You can show somebody how to be an executive. You can get a homie and tell him how to do this. But when you take that same homie and turn him into an artist, now man, you bring raps and he mess around and get off with it.
Yeah.
That's a whole different little scenario right there. You can kind of get, you know what I'm saying, convoluted a little bit because they don't understand it. But you can't take it. I wasn't talking about the thing. It's two different things. They was already
the thing about me, bruh, is like, I don't know, bruh, the way I was raised, like accountability. You know what I'm saying? I don't never make excuses for shit that happened good. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody give me an opportunity, you know what I mean? It's up to me to educate myself and to further that opportunity. You know
if we can talk about opportunities, let's go into that. So you meet Pete, man. Y'all got this chemistry that y'all done built up, man. And I assume through your relationship with him, you start making a gang of connections. What was the first thing that when you went into the real estate thing? What was the first thing you went into?
Yeah, real estate, again, going back to that, you know what I'm saying? Man, still having a, you know what I'm saying, a foot in the street, you know what I mean? I started buying real estate just because I started seeing a lot of the old heads that was getting money in my city, they was doing that. They was buying houses and fixing them up. So I thought in my mind, like, okay, if I buy a house and I fix it up, you know what I'm saying, if I go to jail, then it could be something that, you know, I could leverage to get out or something, you know what I mean? So that's why, I bought my first house when I was 19, you know what I mean? And
was that in Kansas City?
Yeah.
You know what I noticed though, back in the Midwest, it's easier to get a house. Almost. You know, you can go buy a house.
It's way cheaper than this.
You can go buy a house for $15,000, $20,000.
That's what I did. My first house, I paid like $21,000 for it. I put like another 15 into it. This is what I thought, right? Because I mean, you know, I'm past that point in my life. But it was weed. I was moving big weed back then. I was going to El Paso, but that's a whole nother story. But so I bought a house. I paid $21,000 for it, put another 15 into it, you know what I mean? And I was standing outside the house thinking to myself, like, damn, how am I get my money back? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, shit, because I'm renting it for like $600 a month, because that's the cost of living there, you know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, I'm gonna be all fucking years getting my money. And then it dawned on me like, oh, this shit like weed. You don't make a lot of money off of it, but it's volume, you know, because that's what I understood at the time. So I was like, shit, I need to get 10 of these, you know? So then if I get 10 of these, now I got about 6,000, 7,000 coming in a month, you know what I mean? I knew nothing about equity. I didn't know no type of language of real estate or no shit. I just knew buy this cost. I didn't know none of that, right? Appraisal, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? So by the time I hit 21, I had like 12 properties, you know what I mean? And I was just chasing that monthly rent, you know what I mean? Try to get that shit and try to hurry up before this looming jail thing I thought was coming, you know? And I remember my brother had introduced me to this lady at a credit union down there. And she was just impressed by me. I didn't understand why. You know, she was like, so you got that many properties free and clear? I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? But when you get money like that, it's like, dang, man. She was like, you know how much equity you got? I was like, I don't even know what that is. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, she showed me how to basically leverage, you know, what I had, my portfolio. And probably in about a couple months, she had got me like a $700,000 line of credit over that shit. Which means I had access to $700,000 to do whatever I wanted to do. I'm like 21, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm getting money from the records. I'm getting money, you know what I'm saying? So I was moving back then, you know what I mean? And that's what opened my mind to start thinking outside the box on a lot of shit, you know what I'm saying? And then I started doing shit in Atlanta. I had a business in Atlanta too. So yeah, I started really spreading my wings, you know what I'm saying, entrepreneurial, you know, wise.
So you kind of start gravitating more towards that in the music. I assume once you
I was still doing the music. Yeah, I was still doing the music. I was doing everything, because you got to think that's what P modeled for me, you know, to have these multiple revenue streams. You know, that's the thing I learned from P was work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never just had one thing. Think about it. When No Limit was at his peak, he had toys, he had shoes, he had speakers, he had all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what was modeled for me. So that's what I emulated in my own way. You know, so I had the records, I had a business in Atlanta, I had real estate in Atlanta, I had the properties, and again, I'm like 21. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you just kept the party going with the real estate then.
Yeah.
And then eventually started getting this. See, this is my whole thing with real estate, right? It's a slow grind, like you said at first. You get a house, you know what I'm saying, you charging $1,000 for rent, your mortgage might be $950 a month or whatever like that.
Yeah,
and
that's
you gotta
here
still,
though. That's here, yeah.
But no, not you can't get no shit.
No, that's what I'm
for
saying.
$1,000.
Like this is not a cash flow type state because it's so expensive. So
yeah, that's what I was saying. California is hard, so I'm just telling the listeners out there, everybody not gonna have the same success that he had. Because the Midwest, some different shit.
Yeah, you got to do it in the South and Midwest. To do that shit.
Because you can go to like I'll take you some shit now in Ohio. You can go get a house for $5,000.
Yeah,
you had to put a lot of shit into it to make it be a land with a foundation on it.
Because this the thing, still when I did that, I moved out here when I was 23, you know what I'm saying? And I moved to Brentwood, you know what I mean? Right there on Barrington and Sunset. And it was a culture shock for me, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, the rent over there, I was paying like $4,000 a month for a 2-bedroom, you know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I just came from a townhouse, you know what I'm saying, with 3 floors and 6 bedrooms and shit. And I was paying $1,500, you know what I mean, in Kansas City. Yeah. You know, but it was a trip because when I went to go buy my first house, I was looking in Brentwood, and I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't afford it. You know what I'm saying? That shit in Brentwood was like $4-5 million for a teardown. So I ended up moving to Encino, and I tripped on that because the first house I bought in Encino was like $1 million. You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck, like, shit. 20 of my properties in Kansas City is this one house. You know what I mean? So it's like the cost of living I had to adjust to, you know what I'm saying, coming out here. And then that's when I seen that I can't do that real estate shit out here. Out here, this is a flipping city. You know what I mean? You just buy low, get a good deal, and then flip that shit.
Yeah, that's what I was going back to. I said, man, it's a little bit easier, you know what I'm saying, than other states, shit, but this shit's so expensive out here, man.
It's super expensive out here, bro, you know. And then that's when I started getting into producing movies and shit like that. Then I started, you know what I mean?
Gangster Chronicles, we gon' tell you how it goes. If I lie, my nose will grow like Pinocchio. We gon' tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. Gangster Chronicles, this is not your average show.